and then refer back to it. There we go. Now we're recording. All right. So throughout the session, if you have a question or you want to jump in, please don't hesitate to put something in the chat box or just stop me. I know I can tend to be a little fast in my explanations, so I want to honor your time, and I also want to provide you an opportunity to ask the questions that you need to ask. So without further ado, I'm going to be sharing my screen throughout and showing you how to use some of the tools in productivity in a very good way to kind of help alleviate some of the stresses of working day to day through things like Outlook, calendar, and so on. So I'll be sharing my screen, and I'm hoping that you have your desktop next to you so that you can kind of follow along and log into your Outlook account and go on and kind of follow through what I'm doing. So the first thing I want to show you is, does that sound like it's a good idea for everyone? Everyone's cool with that? All right, awesome. Seeing thumbs up, I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And you should see my Outlook popping up any moment now. Let's ignore that. So in Outlook, the first thing I want to do before I get into too much is I want to make sure that the Google application is installed, the Google add-on. So when I'm in my inbox in Outlook, on the top right corner, I should see Google Drive. I know it might be a little tiny on your screen, but if you're looking at your Outlook profile on your desktop, and please remember, this is the Outlook, the Microsoft Outlook version that's on the computer itself, the installed program, not the web version. So we're looking up here for this Google Drive Save Attachments icon. And mine's grayed out for a specific reason, because I'm on an email right now. I've got just a basic email from me that says good day, and there are no attachments. So there's nothing to open or save to Google Drive. Does anybody not have that icon that says save attachments, Google Drive? All right, so Bill doesn't have it. Oh boy, look at this. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Our first task performance activity. At the bottom of your screen, you're going to see mine pops up. It says type here to search. I'm going to go to the far right side, and I'm going to see that little tiny arrow. It's like a carrot pointing up next to 38 degrees and partly sunny. And I'm going to click on that. When I click on that, I get an overflow menu icon. And in that selection of icons, I've got a Google Drive one. And my Google Drive is colored in. It's green and blue and yellow. If yours is grayed out, I want you to click on it. And then mine pops up. It says your files are up to date. Now, if you click on it and yours was gray, it might say sign in or sign into Google. So you're going to need to select that to sign in. And you're going to get a window that pops up. And I'll show you what that looks like, because I'm going to sign out. I'm going to break mine so that I can fix it.
Jeff, I don't even see a grayed out one on mine.
All right, no grayed out one. Good, because mine's gone. So I'm going to go to type here to search. And when I click on that, I'm going to type the word drive. And I'm going to see under apps, Google Drive. Let me know if you don't see that. If you see it, you're going to click on it. And I got my little cursor that's thinking about things.
If you're looking for the Pear Deck presentation, it's in Computer Lab 1 across from Christina Ziegler's reading room.
So now I've got my Google Drive open because I had already signed in, so mine logged back in, and it's colorful. Now yours might have asked you to sign into Google. Did anybody not get that icon? Bill, you didn't have it at all?
No, I typed in the drive.
Okay.
Mine just suddenly went gray when it wasn't. I didn't have a problem with it before.
I don't have it, but
I don't have it either.
Who's that? Lisa doesn't have it? Okay.
Dina, I don't have it, Jeff.
I got Dina, Lisa, Bridget, and Bill.
Oh, it just popped up. Sorry. Now
Yeah.
it popped up gray.
All right.
And mine just popped up again, so I don't know why.
Oh, it disappeared. Now it's
I signed in. It said I had it suddenly, and now I don't see it in the bottom of that little arrow anymore.
I see. Is it under web, Jeff? Because I see when I typed in Drive and I scroll over from all to web, I see Google Drive. I don't know if I should click on that. Oh.
So if you typed in Drive on, it says Google Drive app.
There's Drive Google, but then there's under all. But then if I go over to web, there's
No, that's going to search the internet.
okay.
We want under all, and it should say Google Drive app, and it's got the little icon for it. And if you click it, it's going to say, if you already have it, it's going to pop up and say Google Drive is already running, because mine's already running. If yours isn't running or you don't see that icon in the task tray, then we want to make sure we come down and install it. So I've got Bill, Dina, Bridget, Lisa. We're having issues. Is that correct?
I'm okay now.
All right, you're good now. So I'm going to put a check mark next to Bridget. Bill, still no luck?
No luck.
Okay. Lisa? Nothing. And Dina, yours is playing peekaboo?
yeah. Now I have the color drive.
All right. Okay. So I might want to just check on Dina. I'll definitely come down and talk to Bill and Lisa after our session today so that I can make sure you guys are set up. Once that's installed and it's working, you may have to close out Outlook and reopen it. And it's going to tell you that it's going to give you a little menu that says something about add-on for Google. Please use some message about the installation. You can go ahead and accept that. And then you're going to have that icon that says Google Drive. Now, I mentioned that mine is grayed out because there's nothing to save to Google on this email. But I know that there are times when an administrator sends you a document or you're sharing documents between each other and you make an attachment. If a file has an attachment, an email has an attachment, then what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to click Save Attachments and you'll be able to save it directly to Google Drive. And I'm going to show you that real quick. I'm going to send myself an email with an attached file. This is my tree octopus research. So I'm going to go ahead and say test email. I'm going to click send. So there's my email. And I noticed that I've got this little paper clip in the email, which tells me I have an attachment. And you can see on the top right now, the Google Drive icon has changed to all color. And if I click on that, it's going to allow me to save that file directly to my Google Drive into any of my Google Drive folders without having to save it to my desktop or a folder and then upload it to Google Drive. And I know that folks, I see Leslie Poland is on this, Michelle Zambrello is on this, Jeff Slajeski. I'm looking at those folks because they probably are involved in a lot of PPTs. And there's documentation that you have to download and upload. And this is a great way to save yourself some time from having to download it to your computer, renaming the file, and then uploading it into your Google Drive. You can do it directly from your email. Any questions about that function? All right. The next function that we're going to look at when it comes to Google Drive integration is if we start an email, and let's say I was just going to be emailing a friend or a colleague, and I needed to create a meeting. So I'm going to use Leslie because she's just the one that's popped up right on the side of my screen. So I type in that I want to have a meeting with just Leslie. I'm going to go ahead and make sure this says meeting. And if I have my Google Drive program running, like we activated for folks, you should see insert files using Drive and add a meeting. And if you get to a point where you go and click on add a meeting and it does not add a meeting and it gives you an error, that's because Google Drive app is not running. And that's where you have to go to that, type here to search, type in Drive. You'll see the icon right here. And now, because I've done this a few times, I recommend that when you do that search, you go to the right and it says pin to taskbar and click it. And that's going to pin it right to your taskbar. So if it's ever not working properly, all you would have to do is click on it. It'll launch that program. And then you can go back into your Outlook account and add your meeting file. Another really great benefit of Google Drive is that it has this insert files. Now, before, when we received an email, we can save that file to our Google Drive. Now, if I'm emailing Leslie and I have to include a document, let's say it's a report and she's going to report out, I can't make it to a PPT, and I have a document that I need to share with Leslie so she can use it. I can go right in my email, click on insert files using Drive, and I can either insert it as a Google Drive link, or I can insert the specific file as an attachment. So I'll do the link. I'm going to do my tree frog. So that's actually inserting the tree frog at the bottom of my email as a link to my Google Drive. If I wanted to insert the file, you can see it puts it in as, oh, it did it as a link because I got an error and I went too fast.
Jeff, that actually happens a lot, where it won't let it do it as an attachment because it's like too large or something.
Okay. It could also be because it's a Google specific file. So I was trying to attach a Google Doc, and it has to go as a link, not as a file. So if I was going to try and find something like a Word document, which good luck in my files of my, oh, here's a PDF. There it is. So there's a PDF. You see how it attaches as an attachment now and not just as a link. And then I could send that information off to Leslie. No, I don't want to save those. So that's the functions of email that you receive, emails that you send. We're going to dig a little deeper now and go into a couple more new items. So if I look at new items and I click on this, I have the option of sending an email, which is what I just showed you. I can also create an appointment. And this would be an appointment in my calendar, because you can see it's got subject, location. That's adding an appointment to your own specific Outlook calendar. And you can add a meeting to that as well. Here's where it gets a little cool. If you, instead of doing it as an appointment and you want to invite more than one person, I'm going to do this as a meeting. So new items meeting. Now I'm going to send this to Leslie. Let's say Dina. I'm going to add Kathy. I've got 3 people that I want to invite to my meeting. I'm going to add it as a Google Meet. And I'm going to make this appointment from 1 to 2 o'clock today. So I'm ready to send this. Now, one of the problems that happens sometimes is you get that email back from, let's say, Dina. She's like, yeah, I can't make that 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock meeting. Can we reschedule? Then I got Leslie I got to think about, and also Kathy. So when you're scheduling a meeting, you have this little icon above the word show. And if we are using Outlook's calendar to reserve appointments, and I click this scheduling assistant, it's going to bring up all the people that I just wanted to invite. So you can see my name, Leslie, Dina, and Kathy. And I can see in Dina's calendar, she's got all these blue marks. And in Kathy's calendar, she's got blue marks. I don't see anything in Leslie. So that tells me that Leslie is available any time of the day I want to meet with her. So I could inevitably say, I want that meeting at 1 o'clock to 2, but look, Dina's got an appointment and Kathy's got an appointment. That's not going to work for them. So I can shift that meeting to a different time. So instead of that, I'm going to move it over a little bit and do 1:30 to 2, or sorry, 12 to 1. And now I can go back to my appointment, or my meeting rather, and I can book that meeting. So that's a really good way, using that scheduling assistant to schedule a meeting. Now, as soon as I save this and I send it, it's going to put that event in my calendar along with that Google Meet link. And when Leslie, Dina, and Kathy get it, if they accept the meeting invite, it's going to also put that event in their calendars with the Google link. So there's no, oh, I got to go to my Google Calendar, make an event, copy the link, go to Outlook, paste it into Outlook, invite my people, figure out what time they're available. Oh, it's not right. I got to go back to, it's so confusing to do that. If you're going to stick with a platform, if we stick with with Outlook and the scheduling assistant, it's going to really refine how quickly you can set up those appointments and how easy it is to add in that Google Meet link. The cool part about this too is that as I create this link, I don't have to dig into my emails to find the email that I sent to Dina, Leslie, and Kathy. I can just go to my calendar, open up the event, and click on the link to get right to the meeting. It'll launch it right from the calendar. Does anybody have any questions about this process?
I do.
Yes.
I had a couple of questions.
Mhm.
One is, because we use Google so much and I use it outside the school as well, I rely really heavily on my Google Calendar. So is there any way to link my Google Calendar events into this Outlook calendar without having to hand type them all in individually? Because I will tell you right now, there's nothing on my calendar. It's just not, I don't use Outlook calendar.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to talk about integrating Google Web Calendar in my third segment today. So that's a great question. So a star for Leslie Poland, because I am going to talk about that. The question that I have to look into is whether or not, if you schedule something on that calendar, if it shows up as part of the scheduling assistant. So that's something I need to do a little more research on.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to remove that event because I don't want to book that with them because they're going to wonder why we have a meeting.
I have a question. I'm
Yep.
looking at yours, Jeff, and I see that you have add a meeting, and on mine, on my PC, it says save attachments. How did you get that icon on there?
I'm sorry, under what?
How did you get Google Meeting on your taskbar on the upper part?
So in the meeting event, you should see on the far right corner, add a meeting, Google Meet. You don't have that icon at all?
No, hold on. I just didn't get that far. So, okay, I see. X-nay that. I'm good.
Okay. How about Jordan?
By the way, I tried the save attachment. It works amazing. That was great.
Yeah, I'm still having trouble on mine. I have the Google Save attachment, but I don't have that meeting icon.
The add a meeting?
She probably did the same thing as I just did.
So Jordan, can you go ahead to the new items section on Outlook?
Okay.
Click that and then select meeting. Should be the third choice down.
Okay, and so is there a way to get that to the home page as well?
I'm sorry, to get.
Is there a way to get the add a meeting to the home page, or is it just in that particular spot? Because I thought I saw it on your home page as well.
On
Yeah,
my,
too.
on just in Outlook in general?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't have. I have save attachments in there, but not add a meeting.
Okay.
You have to be in like either emailing someone or setting up a meeting in order to see that icon.
Okay. What is that next to your save attachments? Yeah, what is that?
That is save messages.
Okay. All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. All right. So now the next thing we're going to talk about is going to be signatures. So as you can see, my signature block right here, I thought I fixed that one. Oh, it's on my laptop. This laptop. That's why. So I created a signature that says Jeff Spivey, Ed Tech Coach, generally great guy. I thought I changed that, but I'm going to fix that one later. It's really important, especially in today's day and age when we're dealing with all the phishing scams and the spamming emails, that we put in a signature block so that when you're emailing a parent or another colleague, it kind of removes the question of whether or not it's coming from you. And I know that there are still pretty sophisticated programs out there that are faking people's credentials, but it adds a layer of authenticity to your and credibility to your emails if you have a signature block. And in order to do this, what you want to do is start a new email. And when I start a new email, I'm going to see about midway through the signature block icon. And if I click the drop down to that, I can either insert a signature, Jeff Alt or Jeff Work, or I have this signatures button. Now you might not have anything here if you haven't created one yet. So we're going to click on signatures. When I click on signatures, you're going to see that I have two, Jeff Alt and Jeff Work. And then you might have nothing in this box if you don't have a signature yet. I can edit my signatures. So for Jeff Work, I'm going to go ahead to generally great guy, and I'm just going to remove that because that's not very professional. And I'm going to save it. If you don't have anything, you're going to click the word new. And then you're going to click a name for this signature. So I recommend, excuse me, that you name it something like Michelle Work or Rhonda Work. And then you're going to click OK. And you're going to see a new icon, a new item pop up in that signature block. Now, on the bottom where you've got the body of the signature is where you can type in your information. And you can save it. So I said Jeff Spivey, put in a ticket. That's my new signature block. I do recommend you have something like your name, the subject area that you teach. You could put your phone number with the extension if you would like someone to be able to reach out to you via voicemail. You put your email address if you would like to, building that you work in. So that's what you do for filling that in. You could change the font style. You can add icons to it. I have like certificate icons that I include. And the key is going to be, once you create that, you have to assign it to the email address you're going to use. So mine is assigned to email account, my jspivey@coventryct.org. Whenever I create a new message, my work credentials will pop up. Now, every time I reply to someone, my alt message will pop up. So it's my alternative one. So I can do new messages and replies or forwards. Because when I'm replying to someone, that means they've already seen my credentials. So they don't need to see my credentials over and over and over and over again. So that's why I have just says all the best, Jeff, and I don't have to keep typing that out. Whereas my work one, I've got everything. Once you're done with that, you would click OK. You would close your email. And then if you want to see that it works, you click new email, and there's my new signature block. It doesn't say generally a great guy underneath it anymore. If you wanted to change the signature, you can click on that drop down. And now I've got 3 to choose from. So I can pick work 2, or I can pick alt. Now, if you also have your Google email account, so I want to show that too. If you have your Google email account added to Outlook, you can have your signature set for both. So I've got Coventry CT and my CPSCTG.org email in Outlook, and I can toggle between them, and I can have the same signatures for both. That way, if I'm replying to anything, it's going to have a signature block.
Jeff.
Yep.
Just something that you taught me too was to insert a hyperlink, because on mine I have a little queue for parents to check their students'
Power School.
Power School, and then
Yeah.
and I have that hyperlink in there too.
Yep. And so what you could do is if you went to I'm going to go ahead and pull it up real quick. Pull up the school site. So I'm going to copy the URL from the Power School for parents and students. And then if I come down here to my signature, and that's a good point. I forgot. I wanted to add this to my signature block. I can go into my signatures and I can edit my work one, and I can say, don't forget to check Power School. And then I can paste that link in. Now that's part of my signature. So if I go back again and select Jeff Work, now there's the link for Power School for my parents to use. I know some people you have, I want to say probably Laura Hip, I believe, has a CEP website. So she might include her link to her challenge enrichment page on the website. So that's a great object to point out, Bridget. Thank you for doing that. I know Leslie has that too, I think. Yeah. Okay, close that. So one of the things I wanted to point out is I did mention your Google account and your Coventry CT. So in my email in Outlook, I've got Coventry CT up here, inbox. And then as I scroll down, you'll notice I have just the bare minimum, only what's assigned for my Coventry CT account. And as I scroll down, there's the CPS CTG email account. And that's where the Google one comes in. And if I look under that, I've got all my folders. I'm never going to have a problem with running out of space or getting that email infamously in May during PPT season that says your inbox is full. You will not be able to send or receive emails if you don't clean it out. So if you need to get your CPS CTG email added to your Outlook profile, I really highly recommend you let me know, because I can take care of that very, very quickly for you. And then you put all your saved folders under the CPS CTG. Right. So my next section is going to be talking about something I really think is valuable for folks. And that is when you're emailing your parents, are you emailing them by putting all their email addresses in the to block? Or are you using BCC? Be honest. If you're using the to block, be honest. Here's how you need, if you don't see the BCC block, because that happens, what you need to do is start a new email. Then in the top, it automatically brings you to message. You want to go to insert. And then you want to go to options. And under options, right under the word on my screen, I see show fields, BCC. And if you click that, it's going to add the BCC line. And if you close that email after you do that, every time you start a new email, the BCC block will be there. That's just a quick tip to make sure you save yourself from that inevitable phone call that says, Jeff Spivey, why did you share my email address with all the parents in grade 5? And I will say, I am sorry. All right. Questions about BCC? All right. So now I'm going to hit my first, hey, how can I do this question that Leslie posed to us before? So if I go to my calendars, I'm going to see jspivey at coventryct.org and jspivey at cpsctg.org. And I can split them off. And I'm going to say to Leslie, na boo-boo, I have it and you don't. No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can get both that CPS CTG calendar and your Coventry coventryct.org calendar so that you can either look at them side by side, or what I like to do is look at them as an overlap so that I can see if I have things that are conflicting with each other. So how do we do this? The first thing that you're going to want to do, and I'm going to bring a tab from the internet over to this screen. Hello, tab from the internet. And I'm going to go to my Google Calendar. So that's our first step. Go to Google Calendar. Once you're in your Google Calendar, on the left-hand side, under My Calendars, the top one should be your CPS CTG calendar, and it should be checked. There should be a check mark in the box. If it's not, that means that you're not viewing that calendar. And I'm going to tell you why this is going to be a problem for you. And it happened a couple of times this past conference season. If you go to create your conference windows and you don't have this calendar as an active calendar, it's going to create it in the next one in line alphabetically. So it would put all my parent conferences in the CGS resources for families calendar. And I will never be able to find those appointments to see my parents for conferences. So don't ever uncheck your calendar, please. To the right of your name, it's going to show options, the 3 little dots for the overflow menu. We're going to click on those dots. And then we're going to go to the words settings and sharing and click it. And now we get this screen. We're going to scroll down. We're going to keep scrolling down. And we're going to get to a section that says secret address in iCal format. Don't say it too loud because it's a secret. You want the secret address in iCal format. Does everybody see that? Awesome. Thumbs up. We're going to go ahead and click copy to clipboard. And you're going to get a message that says security because it's a secret. You shouldn't give this secret address to other people. The reason why you don't give this to people is because that gives them full authoring of your calendar. We know how much we want people to alter our calendars. So once you copy it, we're going to minimize that screen and we're going to be brought to our Outlook page. In Outlook, we're going to click File.
Jeff, where in Outlook do we get to that? The step before the calendar's out.
Anywhere in Outlook, anywhere you are in Outlook, you're going to click File. And you should get a page that looks similar to mine.
Okay.
And then we're going to click Account Settings.
Yep.
And then we're going to click that first choice that says Account Settings again.
Okay.
And it's going to bring up this window that says Account Settings, and it's got your email accounts. It's really, really important that you follow these steps carefully because you don't want to mess around with too much in this section because you can really do some damage to how your email comes in. You want to go to Internet Calendars tab and click on it. Once you've got the Internet Calendars tab selected, you're going to want to click New. And then after you click New, you're going to want to paste it, that link that we just copied. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Don't do that. Enter the location of the internet. Yes, you want to paste it in there. I stand corrected. Yes, paste that in there. Then click Add. And you're going to get this information that pops up, and it's going to say folder name. Just call it Google Calendar.
I have a cannot verify or add the internet calendar error message.
Okay, we'll probably want to go back and check that we're getting the correct link.
Can you show us one more time how to get the link? I thought I had it, but I must have gotten something incorrect.
After we change the folder name, can we hit OK and move on?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Forrest, I don't know what happened to me is it wouldn't let me use my mouse to do it. I had to do Control V to add it in.
Okay, yep. So to get the calendar icon or calendar link, you're going to go to
Right.
the settings for the calendar. Scroll down until you see secret address in iCal format.
Yep.
Copy that. Then go into Outlook, File, Account Settings again. Go to Internet Calendars, and then you would click New. Use the Control V, and then click Add. And once you click Add, it's going to pop up. I've already have mine in there. I'm actually going to remove it and re-add it. You're going to get you should get a window that looks like this where it wants you to name it. And you'll see it says display this calendar on other computers with the J Spivey at Coventry CT, and that would be yes. I'm not going to automatically download. Update limit is fine, and then we click OK. And then that will take a little time to sync, but now you can see on the bottom left in my calendars page. Okay, I'm sorry. I want to make sure you get here. So when you're back in Outlook, make sure you select the calendars icon on the bottom left. And you should see a calendar that pops up. And it should be your Coventry CT calendar. If you scroll under other calendars, you should see your Google Calendar that you named. And if you click on it, that's been deleted. You should see it pop up. And you can see there's my CNH Tech PD that shows up.
So what do we do if we can't do it so I don't mess anything up, because it keeps giving me different error codes no matter how I try doing it?
All right, so I'm going to mark you down for Bridget Calendar. And
Okay.
I'm going to come down and I'll work with you to get that set up, okay?
Okay, so I'll move on. Thanks.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. Anybody else having an issue with it? Jordan, were you okay? Okay, good.
All right, Jeff, want to know the funniest thing is I actually already had that set. So that's kind of funny. So I think rather my question, and maybe this is insane, but is there reciprocity the other way? Can I get my Google Calendar to show my Outlook calendar? Because if somebody's sending me a meeting on the Outlook calendar, and I regularly look at my Google Calendar, I still won't see it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'd have to take a look at that integration because we usually don't go from one, like the Outlook to Google.
Right.
So I'd have to take a look and see if there's a sync back the other way. I believe there has been in the past, but I know that Microsoft and Google sometimes don't like to play nice. So
I like to give you a challenge.
It could be, yeah. It could very well be. It was a feature in the past, but that feature's now been since deprecated, and they no longer support it. But I'll take a look.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So if there aren't any other questions about this segment, I'm going to go back into email. Get back into my email account. I don't know why these people are all putting help tickets in. School's out. All right. Now, another function I want to talk about is our archiver and our spam filters. So if we were to turn off our email filter for just a day, you would be buried for probably weeks trying to filter through your email. That doesn't mean that emails don't get through that should probably be caught by the spam checker. So if you were to get an email that comes in, let's say this CPS help is just keeps coming in. I don't want it. It's definitely junk. It looks like they're fishing for something. You can select that email, just click right on it, and then you can click mark as spam. So next to the Google Drive section, you should have a section that says Barracuda Networks. And there are two parts to that. There is the spam section, and then there's the archive section. If you don't have Barracuda Networks, I want to know. If you don't have If you have the Barracuda, but you don't have the spam or you don't have the archive, I want to know, because it can be 3 issues. It can be you don't have any of it, you don't have the spam part, or you don't have the archive part. If you inadvertently mark it as spam, you can say it's not spam. All right, Leslie, no archive. Okay. All right, I got that, Leslie. I'll make sure I come down.
Jeff, can you just say one more time? We're supposed to have the spam, the not spam, and the Barracuda.
It should be a section that says Barracuda Networks.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, then you're missing both.
Okay.
I don't have any of that.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to come down and install that for you, Michelle. Are you at the middle school right now?
I'm at the middle school right now. Yep.
All right, perfect. See this, Dina? They're giving me a ton of work. She's got me muted. She's probably talking to a parent. Hey, now that she's not listening, I'm gonna end early so I can take care of all these issues, and then let you guys have some playtime and set some of these things up. Okay, don't tell her. Shh. All right, so spam, not spam, and
I'm
the
listening. I just didn't want to. I know you're so. Now I got to turn my camera on. Taking advantage that we're in district. I was eating my lunch and I didn't want to eat on camera. That's
all right. So
you do whatever you want to do. I'm trying. I'm here to learn. I'm not. I'm a participant, people.
So now we got we've got spam or not spam. And if you mark it as spam, what that does is that helps our system recognize certain email addresses and domains that are sending out junk. And then eventually what will happen is if enough people have marked it as spam, it'll monitor that and it'll start blocking those from getting through. And if it's something that goes to your spam folder automatically or to your junk, and there, you know how sometimes a company will say, hey, check this for this email, but make sure you check your junk email or your trash in case it gets automatically deleted. That's where you can actually pull that back into your inbox and then say mark as not spam, and then the system will recognize that that is not supposed to go there and it'll pull it in. Now the archive one. Now look, we all get tons of emails. I get lots, and I have all my folders for everything. If I expand these, they go on and on and on and on because I always want to have a way to look back quickly at things. But in the event that you get an email and you've deleted it and you've emptied your deleted, or you've sent something and you've emptied your sent, which you should do. Lisa McLean, no archive. All right, I got you, Lisa. So what you're going to want to do is if you've deleted the deleted and you've deleted the sent and it's gone and you're like, oh, I need that email. How do I get it? You can go to the archive where it says search archive, and then it's going to ask you to type in your username and password. It's the same username and password used for PowerSchool, log onto the computer, sign into the Chromebook. And this is where you can search for things. So if I wanted to search for, let's say, a message from Dina to Julius, and you can get really detailed. You can say, I only want messages that were from Dina. With her name in it. Click search. It'll search the archive folders, and I have every email message that Dina has ever sent me at my disposal. So from today when she wanted my link all the way down to 2016 December that said that she had free ice skates available, or she was replying to free ice skates available. So I've got over 5 years of emails from Dina saved directly to the archiver with their attachments, if I ever need the attachments as well. You're never missing an email. We have to back them up. So if I wanted to, let's say, open this one about something we were talking about with a Nearpod license, I double click it. It's going to pull it from the archiver and open it right up in Outlook. You don't have to download anything or upload anything. It just puts it right into to Outlook. Really, really, really great way to find old emails. This has saved many a staff member who has said, I know I emailed that parent. They're telling me I didn't email them. How can I find out when I sent it and what time? And we were able to pull up the email with the date and time stamp, when they sent it, who they sent it to, and it's been such a benefit. And I know Dina would have testified to that too. So that's the archiver and spam. So if you don't have that, you definitely want to reach out to me. I know I got Lisa, Leslie, and Michelle to talk to about that. All right. Thanks, Dina. So one of the things that I like to talk about when we're doing this session is functionality of PowerSchool emailing parents. And I know I've met with a few of our new staff members, but I think it's important to go over this again. If I go ahead and I pull up PowerSchool, which I do have up somewhere. Here we go. So I'm in Power Teacher. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my high school group. And if I'm looking in here and I go down to one of my sessions, I can see I've got this little folder on the side, or the little envelope. So if I click on that envelope, it's going to show me the parent guardian emails of the students. And I don't have any students in that session. Let's try again. There we go. So I have Celia Del Vecchio as one of my student IT kids. And you have many more students than I have. And you probably have a giant list. And you'll see all those emails on the right-hand side. All the way at the bottom, you've got this group, this listing together, separated with a comma. So what you can do is you can highlight that list, copy it. And we're going to create a group list for our parents. So now in Outlook, we're going to go to that new items section, which is like my favorite section in the world. And we're going to click email message. It sounds weird that I'm doing that, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to click email message. Because the problem with the list that I just copied and pasted in here is, anybody know? Who knows? Who knows? Say it out.
Outlook needs semicolons and not commas.
Comma separated. That's right. Commas. The comma. Outlook hates those commas. So what we're going to do now is after I've set up this email and I pasted those in the body, I'm not going to email anybody this. I'm going to get rid of the comma. Now, it's not hard for me to click here, backspace, and add a semicolon. But when you have 42 parent emails, I wouldn't want you to have to do that 42 times per class times 6 classes or 5 classes. That's like 230 different commas you got to switch. What we're going to do is we're going to look at our keyboard and we're going to use a keyboard shortcut. Does anybody know what it is? It starts with a control. And we're going to be Control F. That's it. Control F. We're going to do Control F.
Couldn't unmute fast enough.
And we're going to say, we're not going to find it. We're going to replace it. We're going to replace any comma with a semicolon. And we're going to say replace all. And it's going to tell me we made one replacement, you lazy dude, because you only had one. But for you, it's going to say, wow, we replaced 42 commas with semicolons. We're going to close that. Now, all your email addresses are going to be semicolon spaced. So I'm going to copy those emails. And I'm going to minimize that email because I don't need to use that anymore. And I'm going to go to the new items again, but instead of email message, this time I'm going to pick more items, contact group. So new items, more items, contact group. They really bury it. Then I'm going to say Spivey IT students. So this is my Spivey IT student group. I'm naming my group. Now I'm going to add my members. I'm going to select, it doesn't matter which of the top 2 I select. It just has to be one of the 2. We don't care what's listed up here. We're going to go to members and we're going to paste that list. I highly recommend you triple check your list to make sure you don't have, like I've got Terry Lee here. I've got Terry Lee's secondary email. Now, if I just had another semicolon here, then a semicolon and a person's name, it's going to really give you a hard time with that semicolon. It's actually going to fail to send. So you just want to make sure you don't have any extra punctuation. It should be email address, semicolon, space, email address, and so on. You click OK. It automatically populates the list the whole way down, and then you save and close. Now, when I want to email those parents, I would click New Email. I would go to the to, right? Oh, Lisa's saying no. Lisa said no. She's BCC. And I'm going to type in Spivey, and you're going to see it pops up, Spivey IT students. So whatever you named it, as you start typing in that name, it'll pop up. And then if you're really, really OCD like I am, you want to click that plus because you want to see all the names. You click that plus, say okay, and then you see your parent email addresses. If you're having a hard time and you're trying to type it and you can't find that email list, let's say you forgot what you named it, that happens, right? You can go to your address book and you're going to always be brought to the global address list. It depends where you saved it. So I think I saved mine in my contacts. So I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to find in my contacts, Spivey IT students. There it is. If you double click it, it's going to put it in the to box. So you want to actually click it and then click the BCC to put it in the right space. And then you can draft your email and then send it. So that is adding a contact group for your parents. Now, you can create a contact group for each of your classes, and then you can make a contact group for all your kids if you wanted to. And that's a simple task of not necessarily adding them one at a time, but if you go into the more items, contact group, this is the bonus contact group. It's going to be all students 2021-2022. And then when I add my members and I go to my Outlook contacts, I can actually add the groups to them. So you could pick A block, B block, C block, D block, and make that one master list that's a huge group of all your other subgroups. So if I go to that one I just made, now I've got those two groups that are in my list. And if I email them, there's all students 21-22. If I click that plus, it's going to show the two groups that I've selected. And then all the people in there.
But of course you wouldn't put it in too, right?
No, I would not do that. For demonstration purposes only. All right. Now
Where did you get the contact group that was buried?
If you go into, I'm just going to pull that back up again.
So
if you go into new items,
Mm-hmm.
and then under new items, you're going to see more items at the bottom. And then you get a little side menu that pops out and it says contact group.
Jeff, we can access it through the icon at the bottom left too, right? Next to our calendar icon.
Access your groups.
Heads. Yeah.
Yep. That's your favorites. And then
Like
if you
I do
click
that
on
as new contact group because I do this every year with my caseload.
Yep. And then you'd be able to see your contact groups that are over here.
Right. And then we could create new ones just with that button on the top, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So Leslie pointed out a kind of a shortcut if you forget where those are located. Because programs like to put things in all different kinds of places. So as Leslie pointed out, you can actually go to the bottom left of the screen and you're going to see the little people icon. If you click on that, that takes you to your contact groups. And then at the top, it says new contact group. And you can click that and continue from there. I'm not sure if you knew this also, but under coventryct.org, if you go down, you should have a contact card. If you click on that, it shows you your contacts as well. And you can also do new contact group from there too. Everybody doing okay? All right. So we are at, okay, so I'm going to move from the Outlook on the computer to the Outlook web portal. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up my internet access, and I'm going to go from in Google Chrome. I have it bookmarked. So I'm going to go to my Outlook web portal. Oh, I should show you how to find this. So if you're ever on your laptop, Chromebook, you're not in school and you don't have Outlook installed and you want to get to your email, if you go to the Coventry Public Schools website, and then from the Coventry Public Schools website, there's a quick links icon. And if you hover over it, at the bottom right, third from the bottom, there's a faculty web-based email link. If you click on that, it's going to take you to the Outlook web portal. Same username and password. Click sign in. And it's going to bring you to the web interface. I only use this interface if I'm not at my laptop or at my computer in the building, because it's very limited in what you can do with it. And it doesn't give me all the same features as the full version. But there are some good, interesting points. I will say that I get this message every time I open it right now. And it has to do with Microsoft. And we are working to try and find a resolution. We just haven't gotten it yet. I will reiterate the email that I sent out last week. You do not have to change your password. We do not require password changes anymore. It is actually going against industry standard, because multiple password changes were causing people to make passwords that were too simple. And people were finding it, they're doing just this passwords are so easy to get into that's how people's passwords are being compromised. So if you get that message, you don't have to. There's nothing wrong if you did. You can change your password. We're just not requiring it. The better choice is to make your password longer to be more complex. Okay, back to the main story. So on the top right section, you're going to see a gear in the web portal. If you click on that gear, you've got options that you can choose from. And when we click on options on the left side, we get the menu. So a couple things I want to point out in the general options for the web portal. Under general, if you clicked on my account and scroll down, you can see how much usage you have for email. I believe everybody in the district now, unless you're an administrator, has a gig of storage, which is 10 times what you had before COVID. We increased that storage because everyone was off site and we wanted to make sure you didn't have any issues with email. So that gig is probably not going to go away. You're going to have that. I have heard rumor that it may increase, but I can't verify or deny. You also have the ability to change your password from this window. So if you click change your password, it's going to pop up and you're going to enter your current password and you can put what you want it to be. Again, you don't have to do that if you're prompted. You can change your theme. You can create distribution groups, all sorts of things here. You'll be able to see the groups you've created for the distributions, the ones that we've actually set for you. So like the CNH staff group is here, the help desk, things like that. Under mail, automatic replies. This is when you're out of office. You can set that up. If you forget to do it when you're in school, you can go onto your Chromebook and you can set up your out of office responder. So that way over the holidays, if emails come in, people will be told you're not working, it's your holiday. Undo send. This is probably the one feature I wish they had on Outlook, the full version of Outlook, that they don't. If you draft an email in the web version, you can set this up so that you can cancel the message that you sent from 5 seconds to 30 seconds out. So as soon as you hit send on a message, it'll have a little icon that pops up on the right-hand side of the screen, and I'll show that to you, that says undo send or cancel send. I'll show that to you. There's an email signature that you can set up too, so that if you're emailing from the Outlook portal, you can have your signature block in there as well. And the calendar functions are in here also, where you can have some personalizations and reminders. So I'm going to go back to the Outlook. I'm going to get out of options, and I'm going to send a test message to Leslie. Maybe. I've not sent her from this one before. All right, so don't do that again is my message to Leslie. And I sent. Oh no, I didn't want to send that to Leslie. I wanted to send that to the other Leslie. What am I going to do? I've still got time to cancel that send. See, it's still counting down. I hit cancel send. It retrieves that email. And now I can discard it. I saved myself the aggravation of Leslie contacting me saying, what did you mean by that? Why were you so rude? So I really like that feature in the OWA portal because oftentimes you're off site and you do something quick and you're like, oh, I got to retrieve that fast. So that is the web version. And now the final component today, before I open it up to other questions that you can ask on anything related to what I talked about today, or you could go and ask me questions about the world famous student-led conference portfolios, because I know there may be some questions out there about that. So I'd be happy to talk about that as well. So the last session I want to talk about is ClassLink. And I know we don't use it as much as they use it in the K2 school, but it is a really great place for you to set up your password recovery. Because if it's the holiday break, and you're like, hey, I reset my password before I left on the 23rd, and I don't remember what it is, and I got to check my email. And you send me that message on December 27th, I'm probably going to reset it for you. But I don't want to have to. So you can do this yourself. If you go to launchpad.classlink.com/Coventry, if you went to that link, and you put your username and password in, and you click sign in, the question was about Outlook on your school Chromebook. You can go to the Coventry Public Schools website, and on the Coventry Public Schools website, hover over quick links, click on faculty web-based email, and click the little star to bookmark it. And that's how that would be set up on your Chromebook. Once you sign in, you might be requested for two-factor authentication, and you pick a little picture. And now in Launchpad, if it's the first time, it's going to ask you to set up your password recovery. And what that means is in the settings section, you can see recovery. I've got a mobile phone, email, and questions enabled. So what that allows me to do is it allows me that if I forgot my password, if I go to this link and I hit forgot password, once it's set up, at the bottom, help, I forgot my password, it's going to ask you to put in your Coventry username. So jspivey@coventryct.org. I click that check mark and it's going to say, how would you like to recover your password? Would you like a text message, email, or would you like to answer the security questions? And then if you've set that up, you tell it what you want to do and it'll reset your password. Now, the email one, where it says, how would you like to receive your password reset? When you set up your recovery, don't use your Coventry CT email because that's the one you need to reset. You want to use a personal email account. Don't use your CPS CTG email because that's now synced to your Outlook email. So you use a personal email. You don't have to. People do their questions only. Just one of those three you want to make sure you set. Does anybody have any questions about the ClassLink password recovery?
I'm not sure I'm in ClassLink at all.
Okay.
Figure out how to get in there.
I'm going to put the actual URL in the chat so that you have that. Because you have to go to the specific Coventry directed one. And then it's going to be your username without the @ and then your current school password. So at this point, I'd like to open up the session then to anyone who has questions about any of the functions that I talked about or the student-led conference questions that you might have for the Google Sites.
Jeff, can you hear me? Because my network connection's weird.
Yes, I can.
Okay. So what if I very wisely set two-factor authorization, and can't remember the icon that I picked, and there's like 50 to choose from?
Oh, good question.
I almost did that, Leslie, but then I went, "Ooh, I definitely would have chosen that," and clicked on it, and I was right. Oh, Leslie just got kicked off.
Oh, she did.
Here she comes.
I'm back. I couldn't see or hear you, but now I'm back.
I'm wondering if it'll time you out. I think I can probably reset that.
Okay. Because I don't know what I picked. I picked the three things I thought I would have.
I'm wondering if it'll like.
I've tried like 6. They're probably like, who's guessing avocado?
It happened to me, and then I don't forget now because that happened one time.
I haven't used it since September when the kids set it up, or whenever that PD was, okay, when the person was on with us for like 5 minutes.
Let me add that to my list, and I'll look into that.
All right, thank you.
ClassLink icon, because I may be able to reset your two-factor authorization. For your students, when they sign into ClassLink, because I know we had a lot of issues with PowerSchool to start the year because a lot of students didn't change their passwords, and so it was reverting back. Once they sign on to ClassLink and they click Power Teacher, it's actually going to log them in automatically. It'll look something like this, where it'll say loading application. And it'll say like making magic happen, and then it'll log them right in. You see, oh, there it is, making magic happen, and it logs them right into PowerSchool. And then there'll be an icon that says save or never. I tell the kids, make sure you click save because it's their Chromebook with their login info. So, all right, other questions?
So Jeff, I know you and I talked about the student-led conferences the other day, and the things that you sent me were very helpful. Okay. So I'm not sure. I probably have other questions, but I'm not sure what they are right now.
Okay. You don't know what you don't know, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I'm looking at some of their portfolios now, and they've been able to at least get started. So. Okay.
Dina has scheduled me to go to ILTs in December to be a resource for folks. So if you had questions that come up and you bring them to ILT, I can work on that. If you know them before the ILT session and you zip them to me, I can have those prepared to respond to also.
Okay. Try to get to one of those.
Or we can set up a session if you don't get to ILT.
Yeah, I can try. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome. So
I'm
as
gonna log off.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and provide opportunity now for folks to utilize some of the tools that I provided for you. Once the video is done, I'll be downloading it, I'll index it, and then I'll upload it to YouTube, and I'll send a link out to everyone. And that way, in the description of the YouTube video, it'll say ClassLink at this time. You click on it, it'll take you right to that spot in the video. That way you don't have to try and fast forward through everything. And at this time, when I sign off, I'm going to come down and try to work my way through my list, pop into your room. So if you're there, great. If not, and I miss you, I'll just leave you a note and I'll be back. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome.